Yo, Game for Days here. It's been what, six and a half years? Something like that since I made that rant video in 2020 before the PS5 came out. Man, insane. Insane. I had no plans, no intentions, no thoughts of ever making another video again. But with Sony's bombshell news a month or two ago, regarding them killing off discs, just kind of got in the mood to fire up the mic here and just start rambling, uncut, off the cuff, like I always did. And this one's going to be calm compared to that one because that one, I was a PlayStation fan. 6.5 years ago, I was a hardcore PlayStation fan, longing, yearning for Sony to show us something, to prove to the fans that they were in it for the long haul. Before the launch of the PS5, I was eagerly waiting, and so is everyone else, eagerly waiting to see how they were going to treat fans. Right? We had spent so many years accumulating and investing into all the PlayStation consoles, of course, but especially PS4. Right? Because PS4 was to carry over seamlessly. And, of course, PS5 is backwards compatible. That didn't end up being an issue, but, that video was a little bit less about just backwards compatibility. And really, it was a lot more about how Sony communicated with the fans and how Sony treated the fans, right? It was about how they acted. It was about how they came across. And you can't bullshit me. I'm someone you can't bullshit, right? When Sony came out with that bullshit and they were talking about how they had some of the games working on backwards compatibility, it seemed half-assed, it seemed disingenuous, and to me, I was like, where is Sony's commitment to the fans? And at the same time, they were starting to put out PC ports, like they had just done the Horizon Zero Dawn PC port at that time, or at least announced it. And they were giving off mixed signals like a motherfucker. And my red flags were going off like you wouldn't believe. My red flags were going off, and I was like, I was shaking my head, and I was just thinking, man, these guys lost the plot. They lost the plot. Because any company that was serious about fostering their hardcore fan base, their core fan base, would never communicate with the fans that way. And yet they elected to communicate to fans in such a shitty manner. That's why I was heated. But today is a different story. Not heated. Just interested. I find this whole thing interesting. For a little context, I moved to PC, right? I think I alluded to it even in that video. I had been gaming on PC for even a few years before that, getting into it more because some of my friends, are into it. And so I already had, I had already had my foot in the water, testing the waters, and I was liking it, really enjoying it. And once my bullshit meter went off after that, I Wasn't long after that that I kind of just went all into PC. The benefits were screaming at me in the face, and that's been great. This is not a video about PC gaming necessarily, but I look at this update from Sony through that lens, and I'm not even really that surprised, right? I mean, kind of saw this coming. The way that they were communicating with the fans and treating the fans from then to now, I mean, has not been impressive, right? Everywhere you go, people have pretty much called this the worst of all the PlayStation gens. Lackluster output, closing studios, remasters out the ass. Fucking, what has Naughty Dog been doing? Naughty Dog has not even released a game. Sucker Punch released a sequel. God of War sequel. Spider-Man. Insomniac's a fucking Marvel factory now. Who gives a fuck, dude? A Marvel factory, really? Spider-Man and Wolverine. I mean, at least those guys pump out games pretty quick. Housemarque's amazing. Returnal's amazing. I played that on PC. So, I mean, there are some bright spots, but God, what a lackluster generation. We're at kind of a pivotal moment. PlayStation fans, PlayStation owners, they're at a pivotal moment. What are you going to do? Are you going to stay locked in Sony's ecosystem, stay under Sony's thumb? Because that's what they're doing here. They're killing off discs, which it's obviously the most anti-consumer move that there is, right? They're killing discs, which was already one of the big selling points of being a console gamer, right? I get to own my games. Not anymore. Physical ownership was the closest thing there was to owning. Right? That's true for any any media, whether it's CDs or movies or games. Owning the disc is the closest thing to ownership. But that's going away. That's going away. And PlayStation fans are going to have to make the choice. Do I stick with this company who's going to keep me locked in their walled garden? You're not going to get any affordable games. You're going to have to pay to play online. You're going to have to buy their console that's expensive out the ass. What are you getting in return? At this point, what are the benefits of just console gaming? Everyone is thinking this. Everyone is looking at this. Everyone in the hardcore, the core fan base, is looking at the situation going, what's the benefit? Because before, right, the console benefits were always, it's cheap. It's plug and play. And importantly, I can own my games, trade my games, sell my games, buy used games for cheap. Well, you can now kiss one of the biggest benefits goodbye. It's going away. Personally, doesn't affect me. Like I said, I've moved to PC, right? Open platform. Allows me to tailor the experience how I want. I can tailor the hardware how I want. I can tailor the experience how I want. I can buy games in the open marketplace for pennies on the dollar, my man. Pennies on the dollar. So cheap. And so, yeah, PlayStation fans are at a pivotal moment here. Personally, for what it's worth, I say give it some hard thought, give it some consideration. Don't just automatically be a slave to Sony, right? Their goal is to cut you off from options, right? They want to limit your flexibility and limit your options as much as possible so that you're under their thumb. They want you beholden to their closed digital platform where you have to buy digital games on their storefront and their storefront alone, where they have a monopoly, they dictate all the prices, and lock you in. This company's trash, man. This company's trash. I mean, I'm sorry. They went from being a fucking great gaming company to just shitty output, really lackluster output, misguided, canceling studios. Sorry, not canceling studios, closing studios, canceling games. What the fuck happened to factions, man? Closing studios, canceling games, just putting out boring ass AAA blockbuster sequels. Fucking boring. And now they're pulling this bullshit. And I saw it coming, right? Not to stroke myself off. Saw this coming, right? You can't bullshit me. I see through the bullshit. The way they started communicating before the launch of the PS5, I knew something was wrong. I turned out to be correct, unfortunately. I wish that video aged a lot worse than it did. But it didn't. Those are my thoughts. RIP to physical ownership when it comes to games. It's going to become a very kind of niche, outsourced type of thing going forward. Maybe companies like Limited Run or whatnot will try to keep that alive. But then again, these guys aren't going to be shipping disk drives, probably, most likely, with the consoles. So we'll see how that plays out. I think Sony's all in on this decision. I think they want to kill off the discs so that the little slaves are beholden to their will. And so, time to make a decision. Stay a slave with PlayStation, or consider other options. I guess that's it. Maybe this will be the last video on the Game for Days channel. Who knows? But anyway, hope life's been pretty good for you all. Hope you guys are doing well. At the end of the day, this is just video games, and we got our lives to live, which is the most important. So when it comes to video games, just do what makes you happy. And that's all that really matters at the end of the day, isn't it? Anyway, Game for Days signing off.